I'm Helen.
And I'm Liz.
And we're sisters,
Scientists.
and lifelong X-Files fans.
And this is We Want to Believe.
All right, welcome back. We are
Welcome, everybody.
talking about Clyde Bruckman's final Repose.
Yeah.
Do you have any business before we get started?
Ooh, I'm going to make it so my computer doesn't make a dinging sound. That's
right.
the business. Do I have any business? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We did talk to an old friend over the weekend, Nick, who said he has a number of alarming supernatural tales. So
Oh, man. He needs to tell you them.
he needs to, yeah. Well, I was thinking he should tell us them on the
Yeah.
podcast. So, yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I would
And,
love to interview this. Actually, this is like the perfect episode to talk about this, actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
we should absolutely have your friend Nick on. I think that would be great.
Yeah, and then at a future episode, we're going to have the author Mallory Marlowe as a guest. We're working
Yay!
out the exact date, but if you're interested, she wrote a book called Love and Other Conspiracies about a cryptid hunter and a journalist falling for each other, and we figure we have to interview her. The tagline for the book is "They want to believe." So
Yeah. And I've heard about her book other places. Like I see it being recommended on, like, are you a fan of monster romances? Sadly,
we don't
yes.
run in quite the same circles, I think.
No, we don't.
But yeah, so if you
yeah.
want to read that, we'd recommend it and
Yeah.
read it, now-ish because we're going to be talking to her in a couple of months.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm excited. I'm finishing up a series right now, and then my plan is to read it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is good. So you're to say why I said this was a good episode. Your friend Nick has some, what would he define himself as? Some not psychic, medium-ish?
no, not medium, but like what's the word I'm looking for? They're ghost adjacent. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think that's the word he
Spirit?
used. Yeah, spirit stuff.
Okay.
I can't remember. There's a word. I can't think of it. He
Okay. Well,
does
he'll have to tell us.
ghost-based activities. Yeah.
He also is like a very normal man with a job. I mean, like just saying that he does ghost-based activities.
He's not like Jacques the Vampire Man of Paris that we've previously discussed.
Yeah. He has
As
a
Nick
lovely
puts
dog.
it, if he were told these stories, he wouldn't believe them. It's only because it's happened to him that he believes them. Otherwise, he's quite skeptical. So
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So, Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose. I had never seen it, I don't think. Or if I
what? So
had,
I thought you told me you didn't like it in the last episode.
I don't know. I don't know if I didn't like
Huh.
it and I only saw it once, or
Hmm.
if I think the idea of someone being able to predict the deaths of others would have bothered me a lot more in years past than it does
Okay.
now.
Okay.
I also wouldn't have known who Peter Boyle is and found it kind of funny that he is the main character in this.
I don't know who Peter Boyle is.
He is the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh my God, that is him.
Yes, that is who plays Clyde Bruckman in this episode.
Whoa, I never noticed that. And it's not like I watch a lot of Everybody
No.
Loves Raymond, but you can't
see
help
him
but
on-
know who they are, commercials, whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah. He was in Young
interesting.
Frankenstein. He was
So he's
he's
done a
been
bunch of
in, I mean,
stuff.
he's been in a bunch of stuff. So it opens with him kind of looking and reading The Midnight Inquisitor, which is supposed to be like the Enquirer, like a
Oh,
you know,
okay. Yeah, like
yeah.
a tabloid rag. Yeah.
Right. And he's buying a whiskey and a lotto ticket from like little corner store, and he ends up buying the Midnight Inquisitor as well. And it says it's September 16th, which is darn close to October 10th, which is when we're recording this. I feel like if we had done this, just if we had gotten our act together a
Yeah,
few weeks
yeah,
earlier.
yeah, that'd be
Um,
nice.
yeah, but it's St. Paul in on
Oh, the
September 16th.
town.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yes.
city in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
I thought
Mhm.
I thought we were talking about the
St.
saint.
Paul. Oh,
Um, but so this is interesting because remember, this means that he is adjacent to Donnie Pfaster because that episode with Donnie Pfaster takes
oh,
place in Minneapolis. So
oh, whoa. Yeah.
yeah,
I he would hate to run into him, I bet,
yeah,
for
yeah,
lots of reasons.
yeah.
So he's walking out of the store and almost runs into a guy, and they do kind of a like dance in front of each other. Oh, I go this way, and
Hmm.
it's kind of they make jokes or whatever. And we see that guy go into a palm reader, and
Yeah.
he thinks so. You do how well do you remember this?
I watched it a bunch back in the day, but it's been what, 15, 20 years since I've seen
Okay,
it. So I loved it. And so it's kind of one of those things where everything you're saying as you say it, I remember it,
okay,
but I don't think I could recall it before then.
got it. So he thinks he's kind of glimpse of his own future. That's why he's at the palm reader. And
Oh.
he's like, she's holding his hand, and then he starts like gripping her hands, and she says, "You're hurting me." And he says, I know, I'm sorry, but you're a fortune teller. You should have seen this coming. And he attacks her.
Oh. And this is not, to be clear, Clive Bruckman. This is a guy who
No,
he almost ran into. Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Not Peter Boyle. So,
Yes.
theme song.
Do,
Um,
do, do, do.
and we see some detectives or some FBI agents at a crime scene in someone's house talking about someone who is unorthodox and kind of spooky. And then
Oh.
Mulder walks in. It's,
Oh.
there's some good
Yeah.
timing in this one. I can see why people think it's like it's almost funny. Like there are parts of it that are pretty clever, but it's pretty dark as well.
Okay.
And so Scully's there too, and they walk in and they, tell the other detectives they already have a profile. And apparently, all the victims have been psychics so far, and that they talk about how like some eyes have been removed and how he's been apparently performing anthropomancy and
What
examining
is
entrails.
that?
Yeah.
Examining
So,
entrails. Okay.
yes, examining entrails for the purpose of fortune telling. And there's
Oh,
surprisingly little literature or even like occult websites on this, which like, I mean,
maybe
fair.
that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Um, the actual like the only like written reference to it I could find was in the Bible. They mentioned like someone
Whoa.
reading arrows and images and a liver or something like that, like kind of one off. And I found it on this like weird website, the what was it? The biblicaltruth.com or something
Oh
like that.
boy.
Yeah. And yeah, so I did. I tried to do some research and find out like who practiced anthropomancy. So like the only record I can find of people practicing it is from the Bible, which I feel like is people can argue about what else the Bible may be besides this, but it's at least like a decent written record of ancient times,
Yeah,
like
I mean, yeah, like it's
right.
not like yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
at the very least, if it's in the Bible, it wasn't made up for the X-Files.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
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 Um but I couldn't really find many mentions elsewhere to give any
Hmm.
background on it, which is when it occurred to me that like how people say like oh you got to burn my computer if I die or something because like you don't want your
Yeah.
friends finding porn or something. I'm worried that
Yeah.
people are going to find like tensile strength of human skin, anthropomancy, and
Yeah. They
if
say
I'm
that a
ever
lot about mystery writers that they have
oh
very upsetting searches, and I could see that. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been like typing things like how to disappear into Google and it's occurred to me that like if I get like murdered, the killer is going to have a really easy out because they're going to be like,
Yeah.
it's going to look like she was
Well,
planning to disappear. No, she's just writing a
yeah.
novel. So let me go on the record right now and say, not planning to disappear, just a novelist. So
Yeah.
nobody try anything because you won't get away with it. All those people who are trying to kill me, I don't know. Anyway.
Um,
The
so
listeners of our podcast who are on the fence about murdering
yeah.
me, let me sway you this the other way.
Now you can't get away with it.
Yeah, there
Um,
goes your plan.
yeah. So then some guy walks up, and there's like a guy walking in the hallway about to enter the apartment where they're all, doing crime scene stuff. And there's like lots of cameras clicking, and he's like wearing like kind of a I don't know, eccentric clothing. And it's clear this is who they were talking about being
Hmm.
unorthodox
Ah,
and
so not
spooky
talking
and
about Mulder.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And this is Mr. Yappy, and he apparently is a psychic. Does
Mr.
that sound familiar?
Yappy. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Clyde Bruckman, but no.
No. And he's not helpful. Was saying all sorts of stuff about like, oh, he has a beard or he could not have a beard. And lots of, unhelpful psychic things. Which made me think, have I told my psychic story
I
on the
don't know. I
podcast?
was just going to say this. Is this about plane travel?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
that you have.
Okay.
Please tell it.
So, how old? I was what, maybe 15?
Yeah, you were. Oh, well, it was when we were going to visit our Aunt Linda, I think, out
Yeah.
west.
But we
I
went a
was
few
just thinking about
times.
this because I was well, it was '04 and '05. So it
Oh,
would have been one of those 2 years.
okay. So yeah,
So
15, 16, somewhere in there.
okay, yeah.
And the two of us and our mom were in Chicago, and for some reason, I don't remember why, but and then for some reason we like parked near a psychic or something and thought it would be funny to like
Yeah.
go in.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't remember, was I the only one who got a reading? Did you guys?
No, we must have. I think we all did. But I don't remember anything from mine. I went to a psychic
Yeah.
another time in DC on a whim with a friend, and I remember that because of what a blatant cash grab I experienced. But
Oh, that's right. That I think you have told maybe
when I was
because
told that there's a curse on my love
yeah.
life, but in order to tell me more about the curse, she'd need me to pay her more. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Um, she told me something like she sensed I had a trip coming up, and I was like, yeah. And she was like, and I sensed some nervousness about this trip, and I said no, and she went, ah, I thought not.
Yeah, yeah, it was like, and are you nervous about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, no, yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, she also said that like I was uh like kind of unfocused and unclear of what I wanted to do. And I think she was doing
Yeah.
like general 16-year-old girl stuff, but I was like
Yeah. You're like
in my
not
second year of
general.
college and like, you
Yeah.
know, very, very focused
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so he picks up negative energy, Mr. Yappy, from someone who is blocking him, and he kind of looks at Scully, and then determines that no, it's Mulder, and asks
Oh my
Mulder to wait in the
God,
hallway.
right. Yes.
So he's as he's leaving, so Mulder kind of waits in the hallway, and as Mr. Yappy's leaving, he kind of, sees Mulder again and says, "Skeptics like you make me sick."
Oh my
Um,
God.
and he had super vague leads, like I said, but the other detectives are taking him pretty seriously. So we're back to Clyde. He's talking to a couple about insurance. So he's an insurance salesman, it turns out. And the guy wants to buy a boat or something, and Clyde's trying to like dissuade him out of it to buy better insurance. And he says about how like the guy will be hit by a truck while he's driving home one day, and gives like really super specific details about it.
Hmm.
And the guy thinks it's like a closing strategy.
Yeah.
And then we see him get back to his apartment, which is pretty like beige and depressing. And he grabs like a bag of lettuce or cabbage, like ahead of it, um, in out of his refrigerator, but then like he looks at it and it looks like an actual head for a moment.
Ah. Ooh.
And then he's talking to a neighbor. And while he's like on his way to take out his garbage, and he has a vision of her like cute little Pomeranian eating the flesh of
Oh my
possibly the
God. Oh
woman.
my God. That's Queequeg.
What?
It no,
The same actor?
no,
Or
no, it doesn't. No, am I wrong?
no? I don't think so.
That isn't
Is
how
it?
Scully gets the dog?
I don't think so, unless I missed something. Maybe they'll say in the next episode.
Maybe. How do you spell Queequeg? I
Ooh,
took a stab. First belonged to Mrs. Lowe. Was that the name of
I don't know. I didn't
yes.
really.
Yes. Yeah, that is Queequeg, a little yellow one.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how did they say how? I don't remember that from the end of the episode, but I was kind of doing multitasking.
Um, I don't I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's revealed in that one, but that is the dog that Scully ends up adopting that dog. Yes.
Okay.
Good, good, good.
Well, Queequeg may have eaten his previous owner. That's kind of what
Yes.
they're getting to. And Clyde said something like, oh, make sure you have enough dog food or something like that as he's leaving.
Got it.
Um, and so he's taking out his garbage, and there's a body in the
Oh,
dumpster. So we see then Mulder and Scully are there and they're talking to Clyde and interviewing him. And he says that the eyes were cut out. And Scully is like, well, it was face down. The body was face down. How did you know? Um, and Mulder asks how the eyes were cut out. And he says from part of a crystal ball. And then they're like, well, again, how did you know? And he's trying to backtrack.
yeah.
And then he mentions entrails, but apparently that hadn't been mentioned to the press. So
Oh,
I like it, they don't think that he's the killer as much as I think they should think that he's the
yeah. I
killer.
was going to say, so they must absolutely assume he's the killer, right?
Yeah. Um, no, so they take him to the newer crime scene at the house they were at. And Mulder says he suspects that he can see things that Clyde can. And
God, how
uh
does he get to that? Yeah. I would be
well,
like,
I mean,
he's
because he
definitely, yeah.
right, yeah. And Clyde asked to see their badges again when Mulder says he suspects things have he can see things that may have happened, which I thought was funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and and he says, "You expect me to believe that's a real name?" to Mulder after seeing his badge. So he sees like a blood stain appear on the carpet and gets sick, goes to the bathroom. Not my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Um, and I mean, it was off camera. Clyde
Okay.
says the killer doesn't feel like he's in control of his own life, and he sees himself as some sort of puppet. And so he's kind of like monologuing a bit and looking at some of the dolls. The victim had like a ton of dolls. And suddenly he sees one
Wait,
with like a
really?
yeah.
Sorry, I just keep watching things with lots of creepy dolls. The most
Oh,
recent episode of Only Murders in the Building had a lot of creepy dolls. So,
oh, have I told my creepy doll story on the podcast?
do you have a creepy doll story?
I do. I mean, yeah. It didn't turn out as creepy as it may
Wait.
have. So,
Just, yeah, tell it. I'm vaguely
yeah.
remembering this.
So an old friend of mine, we were hanging out with her boyfriend, and this was, I don't know, years ago. I was maybe 17 or 18. Um, and we went over to, he was older than us, but was like maybe living with his mom, or maybe we were just over at his mom's for some reason. And she had like all these dolls. She had like an entire room filled with dolls.
It's wild to meet
Um,
one of those people in real life, you know? Like, that's
yes,
crazy. Yeah.
yes, it is. And I hadn't met her before. And so, I was like, oh, it's nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Um, and how did she put it? She said something to me like, oh, your skin is so pale, just like a porcelain doll, or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, she's gonna turn me into a doll. Like the way she said it was like really creepy and
Yeah,
like,
that is absolutely what that sounds like for sure.
yeah, your skin is so pale. Like, all right. Anyway,
Yeah,
um, so he sees a doll suddenly have like a creepy face, like a dead face or whatever.
got it.
Um, And he starts speaking weird then, kind of like having a prophecy, and says, "You'll find her body tomorrow by the fat little white Nazi stormtrooper,
I
and
remember
that
that
something will be
line.
floating in a lake." And he tells them the specific lake.
Okay.
Um, so they're by the lake the next day and they do find a body. And there's a propane tank that both Mulder and Scully agree looks like it. I don't know where Nazi they're getting from. I don't know where, like, it kind of looks like a stormtrooper helmet. I don't
Because
know. I have
Nazi
questions. So it doesn't.
stormtroopers that's a term before Star Wars stormtrooper.
Oh.
We'll keep going. We'll keep going.
I my time period for my dissertation was World War One. In my defense. Um anyway, uh sorry. I've been looking for Hugo's birthday is coming up. I've been looking for Chewbacca jammies for
Oh,
him.
gotcha. Yeah.
So we'll use that as my excuse.
I spent a long time
Um
online looking for a giant gorilla last night. Yeah. Yeah. And I was
yeah,
talking to my dad about it. Like, if somebody wants to start making like really good giant stuffed gorillas, you will have like a corner on the market because there's either good ones that
yeah.
are too small or big ones that aren't gorillas. So,
Uh
yeah.
Yeah, he was saying that apparently the stuffed animal makers are doing a poor job of like ape, monkey, gorilla,
Oh,
chimp
sure. Yeah,
sorts of.
they're just like I think what's happening is it's some cheap companies that are like, let's just see how many keywords we can put in there
Yeah,
that people will search. So
yeah, yeah,
like here's a black apish thing with long arms. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Um, so Mulder and Scully are kind of arguing about whether he's the killer or whether he's psychic. So Scully's going a little bit harder. I still feel like I don't know. I feel like they had grounds to arrest him. But Scully is saying like he could just be the killer. Um, And so Mulder goes to see him and asks him for his help. And he asks Mulder if he wants to know how he dies. Um, and they're kind of talking about like some philosophical psychic stuff. I don't know. And Mulder says, well, if the future Mulder's talking about like, well, you could change things, like if you can
mm,
help us, trying to convince him to help them.
mm,
And Clyde says, well, if the future is written, then why bother doing or Mulder says, if the future is written, why bother doing anything? Like
yeah.
challenging him. And Clyde says, now you're catching on. But he
Yeah.
finally agrees. And so we see Mulder testing him on different objects. Like, what
Does
is
he
this
use his
telling
New
you?
York Knicks t-shirt or whatever it is?
Yes, but apparently that's a no. Like he gives him he has like a I can't remember what it was exactly. It was like a scrap of fabric, of blue fabric, and I
Yeah.
think Clyde suggests that, but Mulder says no. So
Oh,
I don't
funny.
know.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting, because that's a reference to that season one episode with the really creepy dude who does a whole big thing about it, which has some echoes in this episode, I think also. Why can't I think of his name? Three names. Beyond the Sea is
Yeah. Um,
God, why can't I think of his name? Creepy dude, Beyond the Sea. Luther Boggs, Luther Lee Boggs. There we go.
oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he does
Yes.
a whole thing
Right.
about where he gets Mulder's t-shirt and
Yes.
and he's like, "Oh, I was sensing pain," and blah blah blah. And Mulder's like, "I cut that off my
Right.
my New York either Nets or Knicks t-shirt. I can't remember." Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
And I feel like so I was already thinking about that episode because I feel like there's something where there's some object and it kind of reminds me of the thing with the propane tank, but I can't quite
Oh,
remember what
yes.
it
The
is.
the something cross or something. The
Oh, the blue.
the blue devil or something.
Yes, the
You'll
Blue Devil. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's
And it's the
there's
old Blue Devil Brewery or something. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Um
Okay.
so Scully comes in and Mulder says that it seems like he can predict how people will die, but that's it. Like that's his only
Mhm.
psychic power.
Got it. Got it.
Um And so Scully hands him an evidence bag with a keychain in it, which is interesting because I'm actually doing training this week for doing some government work with like
I,
archaeological government work.
that
And
is so cryptic. I know what you're talking about, but I just love how
no,
cryptic
well,
it is.
is it cryptic? I didn't mean for it to be.
I
Government.
mean,
Oh, I guess we're
on
talking
an
about the
X
X-Files.
Files podcast, absolutely. I just have to do some archaeological government work. It definitely doesn't involve the Southwest, the desert, and alien bodies. Not at all. Nope. Nope. Unrelated, Liz, can you book me a ticket to yeah, to Phoenix? And
Um, Finding soldiers that went missing in action. So,
yes.
archaeological recovery, good government stuff, if there is such a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I've been listening and talking a lot about like chain of custody and like, having to wear gloves when you're handling
Oh,
things,
okay.
even though like you normally wouldn't in an archaeological sense, but they want to like preserve the original state of it and possible DNA
Okay.
and stuff. Um, and so I just feel like, Scully, why are you just handing him something, letting him pull something out of an evidence bag? Like that
Yeah.
just seems like
Yeah.
really shoddy detective work. Um, so it's a keychain that apparently all of the victims had. And it
Oh.
belongs to a place. And so Clyde is holding it, and he says it belongs to Uranus Unlimited, which provides investment strategies based on Zodiac sign.
I
Um,
mean, honestly, I'm sure something like that exists. Like,
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, last night we were talking about birthstones, and William, who's 10, said, um, he was talking about how his birthstone's a ruby because I have a necklace with like a small ruby.
Mhm.
And he's like, "What's my zodiac sign?" I was like, "Oh God, are they like? Is he getting old enough that people are like talking about zodiac signs?" And
Wow.
I mean, we've talked about this plenty before. You should see our Mars episode for a scientific look at why zodiac signs are ridiculous.
What
Um,
episode? Our Morris episode?
Mars,
Mars.
Mars.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but yeah, I was like a Cancer, I think, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, let's nip this in the bud.
I would also say if he gets really into it at some point, I wouldn't worry because I was really into it at 13 and
That's
I'm
right.
not now. So, yeah, I mean like
That's true.
I had this book of like 1994 book for Scorpios and it would like fall open naturally because I would read it and study it to the page that like was the summation of like getting along with a Scorpio getting along with some other sign and it was I don't even remember what boy I had a crush on but it was whatever his sign was. Yeah, so uh
I like I feel like that's psychic, Mr. Yappy, where,
mhm,
he's giving also it could be a man with a beard or without a beard. That's how I feel about
yeah.
zodiac stuff. Like I have never read something and been like, ah, yes, that's me. Like I have
I've
never ever once. And I've tried to like revert back to the because we're like technically one sign behind or whatever because of how the stars
oh
were
yeah,
when it was
yeah.
and so I've tried to like see if I feel like any of that and no. I completely dismiss it as bogus.
Yeah. When I was 13, I did. There are
Did
some
you?
really cringy journal entries that like will
Really?
never see the light of day. Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, I'm such a Scorpio because blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I just also want to share that there is a book called Investing by the Stars, Using Astrology in the Financial Markets.
Oh no. Oh
Oh,
God.
it's from 1996, so I feel like it's contemporaneous with this episode. And also it has 13 reviews, and my book only has 11 so far on Amazon. So please go review my book if you've read it, even if you
Sure,
didn't
but
buy it on Amazon.
when did
Anyway,
yours come out? And
oh well,
when
that
did
is a
this
good
come
point.
out?
1996 and
Yeah.
2024. That is a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, there are a lot of articles I looked up to
Uh
see. Yeah. I will say, I think I probably have told this story before that the only Zodiac thing I've ever seen that was kind of spooky. And I don't believe in it. I don't,
Yeah.
to be clear. It's
No,
not like
yeah.
ghosts where I'm like, I don't, but I do. This is like, no, I don't. But
Yeah.
the day I was hit by the car in college, me and
Oh,
three friends,
right.
we were having lunch at a cafe, and this was 2003, so we had like the school newspaper, like hard copy, and we were flipping through it. And there's a Zodiac section, a horoscope section. And we were reading our horoscopes, and somebody's horoscope said something about pausing or taking a step back so that they didn't break something precious or something like that. And then three of us were hit by the car and not him because he was in the back of the group.
I mean,
And
that's pretty weird.
it was pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a friend who worked at the paper later got me a copy of the horoscope so I could
Oh,
like
that's
hang on
awesome.
to it. Yeah, Jess. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, but I mean, that's all I
That,
got. Like,
yeah. That's pretty
yeah.
weird. I mean,
It is.
that's,
It
yeah.
was very weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Um,
But yeah, I do think yeah, it's a bunch of
it's,
bullshit. So
yes, it
yeah.
is. Yeah. Um, so Clyde, uh, is holding the keychain and starts talking and giving info about, you know, stuff. And they say, you got all that from a keychain? And he said, no, he sold him a policy before, the owner of the
Ah,
company.
got it.
So,
Yeah.
um, and he says that he's dead actually. And so they're going to see if Clyde can find where the owner of this Uranus Unlimited, where his body is.
Okay.
So they're in the car going to where he's died, and kind of out of nowhere, if you recall that Clyde had asked Mulder if he wants to know how he dies.
Oh,
He kind
yeah.
of looks back at him and goes, are you remembering? Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just goes, there are worse ways to go than autoerotic asphyxiation. And Mulder goes,
That's
why are you telling me
right.
that? And he goes, oh,
Yeah.
forget I mentioned it. It's none of my business. Um, so um, so they're walking through the woods trying to see if he can pinpoint the body. And Mulder says, like, when did this start with you? And he says that he foresaw Buddy Holly's death, that he had tickets to
Whoa.
go see the Big Bopper, that he was more of a Big Bopper fan and he loved the song Chantilly Lace. And
Oh.
apparently the Big Bopper had only gotten a seat on the plane by the flip of a coin.
Oh my God.
And he says that he got so interested in the idea that it was like down to that tiny detail and so random that he became psychic. And Scully says she's not likely to believe in the supernatural, and that story definitely wouldn't have made her believe. Um, so we see their car is stuck and the tires are spinning and they're like trying to push it out of the mud in the forest. And under the tire is a hand.
Ah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So back in Clyde's apartment, and they hand Clyde a fiber that was found on the guy's body. Um, And he says, don't you have crime labs to analyze this? And Scully goes, yes, yes, we do. And just says again that like all he's getting from it is that the killer will kill more. Uh,
Hmm.
and the killer thinks he's psychic and he's seen Mulder trying to catch him in his visions. So like he's getting some
Hmm.
like visions and it's unclear from who, of like Mulder in a kitchen with a gun drawn. And Clyde's kind of like describing where he is and that there's like pie on the floor and he's kind of focused on what type of pie.
Hmm.
Um, and Mulder says, you got all this from, you got all that from this, from the piece of fiber.
The fiber. Yeah.
Yeah. And Clyde hands him an envelope and says that no, this came today. It's a letter from the killer to him. So
Oh. Oh. Okay.
so we see the killer at a psychic again, at a
Hmm.
tarot card reader. And then we see because the killer clearly knew about Clyde and had sent him a letter. They've got him in like protective custody or whatever. So we
Hmm.
see Scully with Clyde at a hotel, and he says he sees them in bed together and is like, no, not like that. And that apparently she's holding his hand and like looking compassionate or something.
Hmm.
So Mulder's at the door then to take like his shift overnight. And apparently the fiber found was Chantilly lace. Ooh.
Whoa.
Um, so
Huh.
Mulder and Clyde are kind of
Huh.
talking later, and
Hmm.
Clyde says he's only ever had one dream in his life where he's lying down in the dirt, naked, surrounded by red tulips, and he realizes he's dead and he starts decomposing. And they show
Whoa.
this in the promos and stuff. There's like a the image of if you just even like look up the episode, the like
Hmm.
still frame that comes on it is real recognizable of like a dead body surrounded by tulips. It's
Oh,
in
ooh, yeah, I see that.
yeah.
Yikes. Yeah.
Um Not a realistic looking dead body.
Okay, but that's
Um
good because it's quite horrifying.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, no. Um so Mulder and Scully go in the morning. Apparently there's a tarot card reader nearby. And so as they're walking through the hallway of the hotel, like Scully goes to pick Mulder up after his night shift or whatever, and there's like an extra agent guy who's going to stay with Clyde while they go to do this.
Hmm.
And they're walking through the hallway, and Scully almost runs into a hotel worker, looks like a bellhop or something, wearing a little
Is it
hat.
the killer?
Someone well, we don't know, but they do
Oh,
the kind
okay.
of like same thing where like they almost run into each other.
Oh,
That like is
gotcha. Yeah.
reminiscent to the beginning of the episode.
Hmm.
And so the other agent is talking with Clyde and he's smoking. And he asks him if he's kind of like paranoid and is like, "Am I gonna die from lung cancer?"
Ooh.
And Clyde just kind of smiles and shakes his head. And the guy is relieved. And he goes into the
Oh
bathroom.
God, he's gonna get murdered right then, isn't he?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, anytime you pull in another agent who's
yeah,
like not
yeah.
in, yeah, you're like, this person is not long for this world, are they? Okay.
No,
Anyway.
like by minutes. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so he says, don't open the door for anybody. But then
Yeah.
Clyde goes and opens the door. Um, and it's the hotel worker and it's also the killer. So like they show
Yeah.
his face and it's the
Yeah.
killer. And they both kind of touch things the other was holding at the same time. Like Clyde hands him money and to pay for
Hmm.
he's got like food, he's got room service. And
Hmm.
then Clyde is touching like the room service tray that the guy was just holding. And so they like kind of realize at the same time that they're the person the other has been looking for.
Gotcha.
Um, and so they're just kind of sitting in the hotel room talking, and the killer wants Clyde to tell him why he does what he does. And Clyde goes, "You do the things you do because you're a homicidal maniac." And the killer kind of sits down and is like, "Oh, okay." And then the FBI guy comes out of the bathroom and the killer kills him. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So Scully then they're at the tarot card reader's place, and Scully finds the same silk fiber at the new crime scene.
Hmm.
And she realizes that it was the same like lace because before they were like, why would there be Chantilly lace? Like, what was this from? Why would the
Yeah.
killer have been
Yeah.
wearing that or something?
Yeah.
Um, and she realizes that the bellhop she almost ran into had it on his tray, on like the room service tray. It was covering the,
Ah,
mhm,
okay.
yeah. And so they run back to the
Maybe I'm not
hotel.
really familiar with what Chantilly lace is as a thing. Because I'm just like, I don't know.
Chantilly lace.
Right. I'm like, I understand it has a pretty face, but that's a person. It's not a fabric. And I feel like it just
I
sounds
mean,
very fancy. I don't
Google it.
know. To be
It's
on, yeah, okay.
it's just
Yeah,
like
sounds
lace.
fancy. I
Nah,
don't know. It
I
just
mean,
sounds like a nice hotel. Oh, so I'm now realizing this bellhop is literally a bellhop. I thought he was pretending to be a bellhop just for to do
no,
bad.
I think
Okay,
he's
he actually is. Okay.
right. Yeah. Uh, and so Mulder ends up chasing him down into the basement kitchen in the hotel.
Okay. Yeah.
And and so we see then, Mulder's in the kitchen, the same shots that were being shown.
Yeah.
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 And he steps on a pie as predicted. But because Clyde had said some stuff about like, you'll narrowly miss this and this, like he's
Hmm.
behind you, stuff like that.
Mm.
He's able to dodge the bellhop.
Ah, okay.
The
In
bellhop
other
had a
words,
knife.
you can make changes then, is what they're saying.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Scully arrives right on time and ends up shooting the killer. Um, and so they're like things are wrapping up or whatever. And it shows Mulder and Scully returning to Bruckman's apartment. Um, and they find that he has died by suicide.
Oh
Um,
God.
yeah. And
Oh
Scully
God.
sits on his bed next to him and is holding his hand, just like he predicted that they'd be in bed, right?
Yeah.
Like he had said.
Yeah.
And that's it, which seems like a really depressing way to end an episode that was kind of lighthearted.
Yeah.
Um,
Now that you're saying that, what I remember is thinking
yeah,
there's funny parts, but then it's serious or that it's dark. I remembered that he died. I did not
yeah,
remember that it was by suicide. And I feel like maybe I didn't remember that because I liked so many of the other aspects of the episode, like Mr. Yappy and whatnot. And
yeah,
like, I feel like I know he's kind of like curmudgeonly and
yeah.
like
hmm
uh unhappy about things, but
It's
ugh.
weird. It's just
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't feel like it goes along with the rest of the episode.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It does
I
does it doesn't feel earned or whatever, would you say?
right.
Like as yeah, okay.
Yeah. hmm
I think it makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Right. So
Huh.
yeah, then that's it.
Yeah.
So apparently Queequeg will come into play.
Oh
But that
yeah.
I was not
I
I like I said, I either missed that or
You did miss it.
something.
I looked it up.
Oh,
Apparently when Queequeg's owner dies,
hmm.
there is a note that she left that asks if Agent Scully would like a dog.
In the same episode?
Well, that's what Google is telling me, but that seems like it'd
Huh.
be hard for you to miss.
Yeah. I don't know. I have 6 hours of Zoom today.
Oh, Jesus.
Um, so I've
Um,
had some already and we'll have some later. So I don't know. Maybe I've
yeah.
just been like,
Yeah. I mean, at least you're not like, yeah, it does say like,
because how would she know about Agent Scully?
no, she doesn't write it. After Bruckman helped Scully and Agent Mulder with a murder case, the agents found outside Mrs. Lowe's apartment not only Queequeg, but also a letter about the dog written by Bruckman. It implied that the dog had eaten some of its owner's remains after Mrs. Lowe had passed away during the previous night and asked if Scully wanted a dog. The
Huh.
letter also describes the dog as paper trained and well behaved despite its gruesome actions in the night, for which Bruckman placed no blame on the dog.
Yeah, it must have just been like, oh, it's over. Like they must have been like,
Yeah.
I must have just
Yeah.
missed that.
Apparently, this makes it sound like the end of the episode shows Scully with the dog petting him. Um,
Right. And I'm saying I must have
yeah.
just been
Yeah.
like, oh, it's over, and I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch because I want to see Queequeg.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm I did not know before that Queequeg had eaten human remains. I did not
Yeah.
know that part
Yeah.
of
Queequeg's
Queequeg's.
history. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't blame Queequeg. It's
No,
okay.
we
Yeah.
don't. Next up is the list. Does that sound familiar?
Okay, so I feel like the list falls into the category of like I feel like there's like 10 X-Files episodes that are like there's a prison or there's maybe some ex-military people also and like they're
Mm.
like there's like a group of people from the past and one of them is going to kill the others and probably be psychic
Oh, wow.
about their killing
Yeah,
them. Like,
I
because I
can
feel like we've seen
picture.
that already, right? Where there's
Yes.
like
Yep.
some dude coming back from, I think, Vietnam, killing the
Yes.
whole troop or whatever group
Right.
of people. And I
We,
feel like it's one of
yeah.
those where they're like, people keep dying in
Huh.
mysterious way. And I mean, like, this is my gut impression based on hearing the list
Okay.
as a title. I also think the one after that, am I wrong? I think it's Too Shy. Is that
Ooh,
the episode after the list?
I don't know. I can
Because
look.
it just
That
like
sounds
came to me.
familiar.
And I feel like that is one that seems like a really weird one in a like not great way. I don't know.
Oh,
I think like strange. And you're going to
yes,
be
it is.
scheduled to watch that one. I believe I could be wrong. I believe it's one where there's like a dude going on dating websites and he's like a fat sucking vampire killing women, sucking their fat out.
Oh, that
So,
one.
I mean, like,
Oh,
just saying it out loud
great.
seems insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'll get the episodes with X this time and you'll get all the weird ones. Yeah.
Maybe.
So, yeah, so I'll watch the list. I'll
Huh.
see what that's all
Okay.
about. I feel like it's going to be darkly lit people dying. No one is a
Yeah.
good person. Maybe there's some sort of
Yeah.
facility, like a prison or a hospital or a
Yeah.
barracks. I don't know, something.
Well, I mean, would you rather
Yeah.
that or what comes after? Oh,
The
yeah.
the the fat sucking vampire.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
scanning it on, well, I should stop, but I was scanning it
Yeah.
on Wikipedia, and that is definitely what this one is, what Too Shy
All
is.
right. All right. Yeah.
Excellent.
Look, I got the bad vampire episode last season with
That's
like
true.
traditional blood type vampires, so now you'll
Yeah.
get the other less common type. So,
Yeah. Well, great.
yeah.
Great. Well, that's all I got.
That's all I
Um,
got.
yeah.
Listeners, send us your X-Filesist stories that you
Yeah.
have, anything creepy. Oh yeah, do all the stuff you're supposed to do. We want to
Yes.
believe pod at gmail.com if you want to email us. Follow us, like the podcast, review it. We're on Instagram. Follow us there at We Want to Believe Pod.
Yeah, let's get more reviews than that terrible book from 1996.
Yeah,
It's a good goal.
yeah, that is a good goal.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.